Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. The classroom erupted in laughter as Bryson delivered the punchline of his latest joke. Eyes crinkled and shoulders shook as his classmates struggled to contain their mirth. Even Mr. Thompson, notorious for his stern demeanor, couldn't help but crack a smile. Bryson basked in the attention, his chest swelling with pride. This was his element, the class clown, always ready with a quip or a prank to lighten the mood. He'd perfected the art of walking the line between humor and disruption, earning both the adoration of his peers and the exasperation of his teachers. As the laughter died down, Bryson caught a glimpse of his reflection in the classroom window. His shaggy brown hair fell over his forehead, partially obscuring eyes that didn't quite match the mirth on his face. He quickly looked away, focusing instead on the warm glow of approval from his classmates. "All right, settle down, everyone," Mr. Thompson said, clearing his throat. "Let's get back to our discussion of The Great Gatsby." Bryson slumped in his seat, his moment in the spotlight over. He half listened as his classmates debated the symbolism of the green light, his mind wandering. The familiar restlessness that always plagued him during serious moments crept in, urging him to crack another joke, to reclaim that fleeting sense of belonging. But today the urge felt hollow. The laughter that usually buoyed him now seemed to echo emptily in his chest. Bryson shifted uncomfortably, tugging at the collar of his oversized hoodie. He'd always favored baggy clothes, using them as a sort of armor against the world. Today, they felt suffocating. The bell rang, startling Bryson out of his reverie. He gathered his books, purposely slow, avoiding the usual rush to be first out the door with a witty parting shot. "Hey, Bry!" His best friend Charlie clapped him on the shoulder. "You coming to Mike's party this weekend? It's gonna be epic." Bryson forced a grin. "Wouldn't miss it. Someone's gotta keep you yahoos entertained." Charlie laughed, already moving towards the door. "That's what I like to hear. Later, man." As the classroom emptied, Bryson lingered, suddenly reluctant to join the boisterous hallway crowd. Mr. Thompson looked up from his desk, eyebrows raised in surprise. "Everything all right, Bryson? You're usually the first one out the door." Bryson hesitated, his usual snappy retort dying on his lips. Can I talk to you about something, Mr. Thompson?" The teacher's expression softened, concern replacing surprise. "Of course, have a seat." Bryson perched on the edge of a desk, his hands fidgeting with the strap of his backpack. The words he'd been holding back for so long threatened to burst out all at once, but he forced himself to take a deep breath. I don't know how to say this," he began, his voice uncharacteristically small. "I've been feeling different for a long time now, and I think I might be..." Mr. Thompson waited patiently, his steady gaze encouraging Bryson to continue. "I think I might be transgender," Bryson finally blurted out, the words hanging in the air between them. Mr. Thompson's expression remained calm and open. "Thank you for trusting me with this, Bryson. That must have been very difficult to say out loud." Bryson nodded, feeling a mix of relief and terror. "I've known for a while, I think, but I was scared. I thought if I could just be funny enough, popular enough, maybe the feeling would go away." "But it hasn't," Mr. Thompson said softly. "No," Bryson agreed, his voice cracking. "It's only gotten stronger. I don't want to be Bryson anymore. I want to be Nicole." Saying the name out loud for the first time sent a shiver through Bryson's body. It felt right in a way nothing else ever had. Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his voice gentle but firm. "Nicole, thank you for sharing this with me. I want you to know that you have my full support. We can talk to the administration about how to make this transition as smooth as possible for you at school." Nicole, felt tears pricking at her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "But, what about everyone else? My friends, my classmates, I'm scared they'll hate me." "Change can be difficult for everyone," Mr. Thompson acknowledged. "But you might be surprised. Your classmates respect you, Nicole. Your humor has always brought people together. That essence of who you are doesn't change with your gender." Nicole nodded, wiping at her eyes. I guess I'll find out soon enough. I can't keep pretending anymore. Take things at your own pace, Mr. Thompson advised. And remember, my door is always open if you need to talk. As Nicole left the classroom, she felt as though a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. The hallway was nearly empty now, the last stragglers hurrying to their next classes. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Tomorrow would be the first day of her new life. The next morning, Nicole stood in front of her closet, heart pounding. She'd woken up hours early, unable to sleep. Now she stared at the clothes she'd secretly bought over the past few months, tags still attached. With trembling hands, she reached for a soft lilac sweater and a pair of high-waisted jeans. The fabric felt foreign against her skin, but as she looked in the mirror, she felt a surge of rightness that brought tears to her eyes. Her mother's voice floated up the stairs. "Bryson, you're going to be late!" Nicole flinched at the name, then took a deep breath. "Coming, Mom," she called back. It was time. She descended the stairs slowly, her heart in her throat. Her mother stood at the bottom, car keys in hand, impatience clear on her face. As Nicole came into view, however, that impatience morphed into shock. What are you wearing?" Nicole swallowed hard. "Mom, I need to talk to you. I'm transgender. My name is Nicole now." The keys clattered to the floor. Her mother's face cycled through a range of emotions. Confusion, disbelief, worry? "Is this some kind of joke?" she finally asked, her voice strained. "No, Mom," Nicole said softly. "It's who I am, who I've always been, really. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I was scared." Her mother's expression softened slightly. "Oh, honey," she sighed, stepping forward to wrap Nicole in a hug. "We have a lot to talk about, but right now you need to get to school. Are you sure you want to go like this?" Nicole nodded against her mother's shoulder. "I have to. I can't pretend anymore." Her mother pulled back, studying Nicole's face. "Okay," she said finally, "but call me if you need anything. Promise?" "I promise," Nicole said, managing a small smile. The drive to school was quiet, both mother and daughter lost in thought. As they pulled up to the building, Nicole's mother reached out to squeeze her hand. "I love you," she said firmly. "No matter what, we'll figure this out together." Nicole felt a lump form in her throat. "I love you too, Mom," she whispered before stepping out of the car. The familiar bustle of the school hallway felt alien as Nicole made her way to her locker. She could feel eyes on her, hear the whispers starting. Her hands shook as she fumbled with her combination lock. "Whoa, Bryson, is that you?" Nicole turned to see Charlie staring at her, mouth agape. She took a deep breath. "It's Nicole now, actually," she said, her voice stronger than she felt. "I'm transgender." Charlie blinked rapidly, processing. "Oh," he said finally. Okay, wow, wasn't expecting that." Nicole felt her heart sink. "I know it's a lot to take in," she said quietly. Charlie seemed to shake himself out of his stupor. "No, hey, it's cool. I mean, it's not cool, it's important? Significant? Damn, I'm not good at this serious stuff. That's usually your department." Despite her nerves, Nicole felt a small smile tug at her lips. "Yeah, well, I'm retiring from the class clown business. Turns out it was just a cover." Charlie nodded slowly. "Makes sense, I guess. You always did seem, I don't know, like you were trying too hard sometimes." He paused, then grinned. "So, does this mean I get to be the funny one now?" Nicole felt a wave of relief wash over her. "In your dreams, Charles," she retorted, falling easily into their familiar banter. As they walked to class together, Nicole felt some of her tension ease. If Charlie could accept her, maybe others would too. That hope was tested as they entered the classroom. Conversation stuttered to a halt as all eyes turned to Nicole. She lifted her chin, fighting the urge to shrink into herself. "Good morning, Nicole," Mr. Thompson said warmly, breaking the silence. "Class, as you can see, we have a change today. Nicole has bravely chosen to share her true identity with us. I expect you all to treat her with the same respect you always have." A murmur went through the class. Nicole could see confusion, surprise, and in some faces, understanding dawning. She took her usual seat, hyper-aware of every movement, every whisper. "All right, let's begin," Mr. Thompson continued, launching into the day's lesson. As the class progressed, Nicole found herself more engaged than she had been in years. Without the pressure to constantly perform, to be the class clown, she was free to actually focus on the material. Her hand shot up several times to answer questions, surprising both herself and her classmates. By lunchtime, the initial shock had worn off, replaced by a mix of curiosity and tentative acceptance. As Nicole made her way through the cafeteria, she overheard snippets of conversation. "Did you see Nicole? She looks so different." "I can't believe Bryson was hiding this all along." "It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like, looking back?" She sat at her usual table, joined shortly by Charlie and a few other friends. There was an awkward moment of silence before Jess, another girl in their group, spoke up. "So, Nicole," she said, her tone cautious but kind, "how long have you known?" Nicole took a bite of her sandwich, buying herself a moment to gather her thoughts. "I think I've always known, deep down," she admitted, "but I didn't really understand or accept it until recently." "Is that why you were always joking around?" another friend, Aiden, asked. "Like, to hide it?" Nicole nodded slowly. "Yeah, I guess so. It was easier to make people laugh than to deal with how I really felt." "Well, for what it's worth," Jess said, "I think you're really brave, and you look great in that sweater." A warm feeling spread through Nicole's chest. "Thanks," she said softly. "That means a lot." As the days passed, Nicole found herself settling into her new identity. There were challenges, of course. Some students whispered behind her back, and a few teachers stumbled over her name, but overall the response was more positive than she had dared to hope. Her grades improved dramatically now that she wasn't constantly trying to disrupt class. Teachers who had once viewed her as a troublemaker now praised her insightful comments and thoughtful essays. Even more surprising was the way her relationships changed. Without the mask of the class clown, Nicole found herself forming deeper, more genuine connections with her peers. She still had a quick wit and a talent for making people laugh, but now it came from a place of authenticity rather than desperation. As the end of the school year approached, excitement built for the upcoming prom. Posters announcing the election for prom king and queen appeared in the hallways. Nicole eyed them wistfully, remembering how she had once joked about running for prom king as Bryson. "You should run," Charlie said, catching her gaze. Nicole snorted. "Yeah, right. I don't think anyone's ready for a trans prom queen." "Why not?" Jess chimed in, joining them at Nicole's locker. "You've got my vote and probably half the class, too." "She's right," Charlie nodded. "People respect you, Nicole, not just for coming out, but for who you are. You've shown everyone that it's okay to be yourself." Nicole felt a flutter of hope in her chest. "You really think I have a chance?" "Only one way to find out," Jess grinned, grabbing a nomination form from the nearby table. Before she could second-guess herself, Nicole found herself filling out the form. As she dropped it into the nomination box, she felt a surge of excitement. Win or lose, she was proud of how far she'd come. The weeks leading up to prom were a whirlwind of dress shopping, hair appointments, and nervous anticipation. Nicole's mother threw herself into the preparations with gusto, clearly relishing the chance to bond with her daughter over traditionally feminine activities. On the night of the prom, Nicole stood in front of her full-length mirror, barely recognizing herself. Her dress, a flowing gown in deep emerald, hugged her figure in all the right places. Her hair, now grown out to her shoulders, was styled in soft waves. For the first time in her life, she felt truly beautiful. "Oh, sweetheart," her mother breathed from the doorway. "You look stunning." Nicole turned, tears pricking at her eyes. "Thanks, Mom," she said softly, "for everything." Her mother crossed the room to envelop her in a hug. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered fiercely. "Now go show them all how amazing you are." The prom was a riot of color, music, and excitement. Nicole entered on Charlie's arm, feeling a mix of nerves and exhilaration. As they joined their friends on the dance floor, she felt the last of her anxiety melt away. This was her night to shine. As the evening wore on, the moment for the crowning of the prom king and queen arrived. Nicole held her breath as the principal took the stage. "And now, the moment you've all been waiting for," he announced. "Your prom king is, Charlie Davidson." The crowd erupted in cheers as Charlie made his way to the stage, a look of delighted surprise on his face. Nicole clapped along with everyone else, her heart pounding as she waited for the next announcement. "And your prom queen is..." The principal paused, building the suspense. Nicole closed her eyes, hardly daring to hope. "Nicole Thompson?" For a moment, Nicole couldn't move. She felt hands pushing her gently towards the stage, heard the roar of applause. As if in a dream, she climbed the steps, accepting the sparkling tiara from the principal. As she turned to face the crowd, Nicole saw a sea of smiling faces. Her classmates, teachers, friends, all cheering for her. In that moment, she realized that she had finally found true acceptance, not by hiding behind jokes or trying to be someone she wasn't, but by embracing her authentic self. Charlie grinned at her as they prepared for the traditional dance. "Told you you'd win," he whispered. Nicole laughed, a sound of pure joy. "Guess I should listen to you more often," she teased back. As they swayed to the music, Nicole caught sight of her reflection in the gym's mirrors. The Nicole who looked back at her was radiant, confident, and above all, true to herself. She had come so far from the scared, joke-cracking Bryson of just a few months ago. The road ahead wouldn't always be easy, she knew. There would be challenges and obstacles to face. But looking around at the supportive faces of her classmates, feeling the weight of the crown on her head, Nicole knew she was ready to face whatever came next. As the song ended and Charlie spun her in a playful twirl, Nicole felt a sense of peace settle over her. She had found her place in the world, not as the class clown, but as herself, Nicole, prom queen, and so much more. The rest of the night passed in a blur of dancing, laughter, and joy. As the last song faded and students began to file out, many stopped to congratulate Nicole, offering words of support and admiration. "You killed it up there," Jess said, pulling Nicole into a tight hug. "I'm so happy for you." Aiden nodded in agreement. Yeah, who would have thought our class clown would end up being such an inspiration? Nicole felt warmth bloom in her chest. "Thanks, guys. I couldn't have done it without all of you." As she gathered her things to leave, Mr. Thompson approached, a proud smile on his face. "Congratulations, Nicole," he said warmly. "You've come so far. I hope you know how much you've impacted this school." Nicole ducked her head, feeling a blush creep up her cheeks. "I'm just being myself," she said softly. "Exactly," Mr. Thompson replied. "And that's the most powerful thing you could do. You've shown everyone the importance of authenticity and self-acceptance. That's a legacy to be proud of." As Nicole stepped out into the cool night air, still wearing her crown and clutching her prom queen sash, she felt a sense of possibility unfurling before her. The future, once a source of fear and uncertainty, now seemed bright with promise. She spotted her mother waiting in the parking lot, camera at the ready. As Nicole approached, her mother's eyes filled with tears of joy. "My beautiful daughter," she said, pulling Nicole into a fierce hug. "I am so, so proud of you." Nicole hugged her back just as tightly. "Thanks, Mom, for everything. I couldn't have done this without you." As they drove home, Nicole's mind wandered to the journey that had brought her to this moment. From the scared boy hiding behind jokes to the confident young woman she was becoming, every step had been necessary. Every challenge had made her stronger. She thought of the other students who might be struggling with their own identities, who might have seen her story and found hope. Maybe, just maybe, her experience could make their paths a little easier. As they pulled into their driveway, Nicole's mother turned to her with a serious expression. "You know, honey, this is just the beginning. There will be more challenges ahead." Nicole nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and determination. I know, but I'm ready for them. I've got you, I've got my friends, and most importantly, I've got myself. My real self. Her mother smiled, reaching out to squeeze her hand. That you do, and that's all you really need. As Nicole climbed the stairs to her room, crown still perched atop her head, she paused to look at the photos lining the wall. There was Bryson, grinning widely in class photos, always the center of attention. She felt a wave of compassion for that scared, confused boy. "It's okay," she whispered to the photos. "You can rest now, I've got it from here." In her room, Nicole carefully removed her crown, placing it on her dresser where she could see it every morning. Thanks for watching. The rest won't be viewable on YouTube, so check out Patreon if you want more. I hope you have a wonderful day, my cutie.